Hello, hello, my friends. It is already the end of April, which means it is time for me to share with you guys my monthly candle collection update. This is a series that I started on my channel way back in January of 2024. And at that time, I was really trying to get a handle on what was in my candle stash. Now, personally, you guys, I don't really consider myself what you would really define as a candle collector. I am somebody who, like, I don't buy candles to just have one, to keep around for memory's sake. I do burn what I purchase. However, I was getting to a point where I was feeling like things were getting a little bit out of control. I wanted to know what I had in my collection. I am somebody who likes to usually burn more than one candle at a time. That's how I am able to get through a lot of candles. So I'm always looking for fragrances that when I am purchasing new ones, will they complement fragrances that I already have in my collection? And so, what started out as that little journey in January of 2024, I figured I'm going to go ahead and document it on my channel. Maybe it would provide some encouragement for all of you guys if you're trying to avoid FOMO. Maybe you're on a no buy or a low buy. Just try to show you guys that, like, hey, even though I have a YouTube channel, I too was trying to be very, very intentional with my purchases. So I felt like last year was really the year that I was trying to just get to know what I had in my collection. I got a little bit cutthroat with decluttering candles. And then this year, one of my big goals for 2025, now that I feel like I've got a better finger on, the pulse of my collection, is that I want to remain or like be in a position where I can still burn old fragrances or fragrances that are not quote unquote new to the market. I can incorporate those a little bit more because the truth of the matter is, as a reviewer here on YouTube, yes, I do focus on a lot of new fragrances. I am very fortunate that some companies send me PR, which is very, very kind of them, and I'm always grateful for that. But where I was finding myself towards the end of 2024 was feeling like I had to push out reviews on new content so much that I was then avoiding or not burning the fragrances that I knew I loved. And so my mindset wanted to shift in 2025. And so I have found that this year I've gotten a little bit more intense with the declutters, I should say. If I get a fragrance in fact, you're going to see a couple here in my declutter today. Some of these were sent to me in PR. I was very grateful to receive them. I burned them once, twice, did not love them. Out they go. I just trust that there will be other reviewers who will share their thoughts on that. And truthfully, I feel like when we are watching anybody here on YouTube or following people on any other platforms of social media, it actually helps us almost just as much if we know that reviewer's preferences. If they say, like, yeah, I tried burning this one and I didn't love it. Like, if you have similar fragrance preferences as that reviewer, that's going to tell you, yeah, I'm probably going to be able to save my money. They don't even need to film a full-on review saying, like, this is how it performed and all that stuff. If they don't like the fragrance, sometimes that tells a lot of you guys, like, hey, I've got similar fragrance preferences as Katie. If she didn't like that one, I'm probably not going to like it either. So anyways, that's why I started to feel like, you know what, it's not so bad to go ahead and do that. Anyways, long enough introduction here. How this video is typically formatted is I start out by letting you guys know how many candles I began the month with in my collection. I quickly go over all of the candles that I brought in. We go over the number of candles that I emptied. I do have I actually have two separate empties videos for the month of April. I try to film my empties every other week for you guys. That way it can kind of break it up because, again, I do tend to go through a lot of candles. And then at the end of this video, I will share with you guys how many candles I decluttered and exactly which candles and why I decluttered them. And then I will give you the updated total at the end of this video. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps me out with the old YouTube algorithm. If you like not only this video, but you like my content, please make sure you hit that subscribe button before you get on out of there. All of the candles that I talk about today, in terms of the declutter, I'll try to talk about most of them, will be listed and linked in the description box down below, as well as some of like the haul videos and the empties videos. I will have those all down there for you as well. All right, long enough. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. So I began the month of April with 74 candles in my collection. It was, I typically, my sweet spot is I like to keep my collection under 75. My goal for this year is actually maybe to end 2025 with under 50. I don't know, that might be a little bit too lofty of a goal, but we'll see. I have very limited storage space in my home, which is why I like to keep things a little bit more little bit more minimal. But yeah, I realize some of you guys might be like 50 candles, that's a lot. Others of you might be like, wow, that's not a whole lot. But anyways, 74 candles is what I began with. During the month of April, I actually ended up bringing 20 candles into my collection. So I'm just going to go over them very quickly. From the brand Caramel Sundays, I actually included my March restock haul, but then the April restock haul showed up very quickly. So I actually have 2 hauls from Caramel Sundays that came in the month of April. And the candles that I purchased from them were Positano, Golden Hour. I purchased a 4-wick of 40 ounce of Bakery on Main, Banana Boat, and Oat Milk and Pistachio. Now the Banana Boat and the Oat Milk and Pistachio, those were also in their 4-wick, 40 ounces. And then I also ended up purchasing in the April restock, if you just caught that video that I posted last weekend, I ordered the huge Bakery on Main. It's like 150 ounce vessel candle. It's actually sitting right now over on my dining room table, and it's a beautiful centerpiece. I did purchase a 2-wick of Banana Boat because I love that fragrance paired with Kringle's Sea Breeze, a 2-wick of Pink Salt, and a 4-wick of Sublime Vanilla. So those were the fragrances I purchased from Caramel Sundays. From Homeworks, I did spend some gratis money with the brand, and I ended up purchasing Hyde Park Lilac, Blooming Trellis, Sea Salt, and oh no, that's not them, Butterfly Garden, and I'm looking to see anything else there. Nope. Those were the things that I ended up purchasing from Homeworks. And then Homeworks did also send me their Ginger Mango, which was a collaboration candle with Elton John. I did post a review on that on Monday. You might want to go check that out. I know that the candle is sold out. I actually felt really bad because I did the review, and then when I went to link it, I realized that it was sold out on QVC. However, if that candle goes back into stock, make sure you check out that review before purchasing. I'll just say that. So yeah, Ginger Mango was sent to me in PR. And then I did purchase some items from Kringle earlier this month. They kind of did that surprise launch where they had 19 3-wick candles. I didn't know that was coming. None of the ambassadors did. We were all just as taken aback as all of you guys. And so I did purchase 6 candles from that launch. They were Vacay, Pistachio Crema, Life's a Beach, Melon Medley, Grandma's Lemonade, and Mystic Trail. And then while I was placing that order, you guys saw when I did that Kringle haul, I did also purchase my very first 4-wick candle from the brand, which is Sea Salt and Tonka. I almost gave that away earlier, but if you've watched all of my haul videos, you guys know already the fragrances that I brought in. So those were all of the candles that I purchased in the month of April. Now there's a little bit of a caveat here because I have actually made some other purchases within the last week here. However, they have not shipped yet. So those will be, included in the May totals. But I will just let you guys know that Kringle BOGO sale did get to me. And I may have purchased, let me see, there's some extra Easter candles that I've purchased, which, by the way, I'm filming this on Monday. I'm planning to put this up on Wednesday, April 30th. But I just saw today that the Kringle Easter collection is now 75% off. And at the time that I'm filming this, now I don't know Wednesday when everything uploads, they still had Easter petals, Jelly Bean Jubilee, and chocolate eggs in the large 2-wicks were still in stock, and those were marked down to $8.50. And then they still had all 3 of the 3-wick collection. It was Bunnies and Flowers, Sweet as Can Be, and what's the other one? Berry Citrus Bloom. I didn't really love that fragrance. But all of those were still in stock for $6.50 each. And I will tell you guys, Sweet as Can Be, if you love lemon sugar marshmallow, Sweet as Can Be is lemon sugar marshmallow in a 3-wick. So wanted to let you guys know that those, again, at the time that I'm filming this, I don't know if they'll still be in stock when this video goes up live, but you might want to check it out. The Kringle BOGO sale is still going on. It's being marketed as a Mother's Day sale. So I feel pretty confident in saying that it'll still be going on. So if you're wanting to save some money, that's a great thing. I will make sure that I share a Kringle haul with you guys in May. You're also going to see that since I purchased that Sea Salt and Tonka in a 4-wick, I've purchased 2 more 4-wick candles. So I'm very excited to share that with you in my May Kringle haul. So hauled 20 candles this month, or 20 extra candles came into my collection. That gives me a grand total of 94 candles That's where my collection was sitting at. In terms of empties, it's funny, split right down the middle. I emptied 12 candles by mid-April and then another 12 candles by the end of April. So that gives me 24 candles that I finished burning. So we began with 74, added 20, we were at 94. We emptied 24, so now I was down to 70 candles in my collection. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the fragrances that I decluttered from my collection. Starting out with one of the candles that you actually saw me, quote unquote, haul here. Butterfly Garden. Now, my daughter and I did a Homeworks haul video together. If you guys missed that, go back and check it out. I actually had my teenage daughter, Paisley, sniff some candles with me, and I laughed because Butterfly Garden was a fragrance that I thought I was really going to enjoy, but on cold sniff, she said that it reminded her of like getting some candy from the bottom of your grandma's purse. There was kind of this weird, kind of almost like stale fragrance to it. Now, I think what we were smelling was a little bit of maybe like it wasn't necessarily peach, but there was something in that fragrance. I don't have the fragrance notes in front of me, but something about it just smelled off, almost kind of dirty to me. Again, not like a mossy note. I tend to like mossy fragrances, but certain floral notes. One of them I know is freesia to my nose in home fragrance, not necessarily in personal fragrance, but it can come across a little bit just almost like a musty flower. I don't know. That's the best way that I can describe it. But I was not a fan of Butterfly Garden. And I know that that fragrance has been out now for more than a year. It's not a brand new fragrance. So I decided to go ahead and pass that candle along. In fact, the first three candles that I talk about here, I actually did end up donating to my church's youth group. They held a big yard sale earlier this month to raise some funds for summer camp. And so I just ended up donating those candles to that cause. So Butterfly Garden, out it went. Another fragrance from Homeworks that got the old chop was Iced Cherry Fizz. Now, they were kind enough to send that fragrance to me in PR. However, first and foremost, one of the things you guys should know about me, I am not really a big cherry fan when it comes to home fragrance. I didn't mind. I loved or I wouldn't say I loved, but I did like, and I finished the, what was it? From Hallmark's, it was part of their Carnival collection, the Bing Cherry Cola. That smells like a very authentic cherry Coke fragrance. That was okay, but overall, you guys, cherry fragrances really are not usually my jam. The only cherry fragrances I found myself actually enjoying, I do like Kringle Reserve's Sweet Geometry, but again, I think that's because it's not overtly cherry. There's some citrus mixed in there. There's like some orange and lemon, and some sugariness and a little bit of creaminess. It kind of almost reminds me of like a sorbet. I also like Yankee Candles. It's a very old school scent. It's cherry lemonade. I actually have it in my collection in one of their paraffin jars. That one has a little bit of a it's nostalgic to me because my mom burned that candle the summer that my husband and I got married, and that was 19 years ago now. So that kind of is like a little bit of it has a scent memory for me. I'm trying to think other cherry fragrances just usually are not really my jam. So unfortunately, the Iced Cherry Fizz, one of the issues I had with it was that there was an effervescent note to it, and it was very prominent, but something about that fragrance was just off to my nose. I did not like it. It almost smelled a little bit sour. And so I burned that candle twice. It was pretty strong for me. I will say that it was pretty strong. But again, also, I think sometimes when you have a home fragrance that if there's a fragrance note in there that you don't love, I think your nose is immediately going to hone in on it more so than the fragrances that you do enjoy. And I couldn't get past that one. I tried burning it twice and I was just like, I don't like this. It needs to go. So out Iced Cherry Fizz went. Another fragrance from Bath and Body Works that I was sure I was going to love when I had it on cold sniff, but didn't work out for me, was Pistachio Milk and Honey. Now, that fragrance, when I smelled it on cold sniff, it was kind of in the vein of Yankee Candle's Capri Glow, the Sol de Janeiro Boom Boom Cream type of fragrance, and I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to love it. However, there was a shea butter note in that candle that I felt like, I feel like I remember the fragrance notes being like pistachio cream, and like whipped shea butter or like pistachio. Those were kind of like the base notes in there. Now the problem is that I felt like when that candle was burning, one, it was burning pretty hot and fast for me, and then it started to burn dirty, which you guys know that's kind of a big deal for me in my house. I don't like dirty burning candles. The strength and throw was decent on it. Again, I was picking up a note though that I didn't love. I felt like the shea butter note became oppressive in that fragrance the longer that I burned it. It really overtook any kind of like nuttiness from pistachio, and it ruined the candle for me. I did not enjoy it. Now my daughter did like it. However, again, because it was burning really dirty for me, I just don't have the patience for dirty burning candles anymore. And so I decided to go ahead and declutter it from my collection. All right, and then I have two more candles here that I haven't yet passed on, but they are going to be finding another home just because they really just don't work out for me. One is, again, they're actually both candles that were sent to me in PR. This one is from Homeworks. This is the Candied Sorbet fragrance, which honestly I feel like was really disappointing because from the picture here on the label, which we know that Homeworks knocks it out of the park with their packaging, the fragrance notes listed are vanilla sorbet, sweet sugared berries, cotton candy swirls, and creamy sandalwood. So you would think this is going to be a gourmand candle. It's not, you guys. This has a floral element to it. This is, I don't really smell the sandalwood. Like, there's another fragrance that I'm going to review later on this week that has a sandalwood note in it from Homeworks. I actually really like the way that Homeworks does sandalwood in a lot of their summer fragrances, but this one missed the mark. I am smelling floral in here. And I'm trying to remember when I did do a dedicated review on this. And here's the thing. I remembered on the dedicated review, the in-depth floral notes. You know what? In fact, let me see here if I have it written down. There it is. Candied Sorbet. What is it? Freesia and Rose. That's what it was that were in the mid notes, because I was like, what is in this that I don't like? Just a little fun fact, you guys, I don't really love the combination of Freesia or Rose together. I didn't like it in the Berry Citrus Bloom from the Kringle 3 Wicks that I mentioned earlier that are on sale. I don't like that combination. And I'm going to tell you, I smell it in this candle when it is burning. I smell those floral notes in here. So I think this is an example of a candle that I just feel like it doesn't quite match what I thought it was going to smell like. Truthfully, I thought a candle like this would be more in line with, say, that Kringle Reserve Sweet Geometry that has a bit of like creaminess to it, but also it's not straight up ice cream. There's berries in it. That's what I was expecting from this candle, and I just didn't get it. So unfortunately, fortunately, the burn has been pretty good on it. It is one of those hot and fast burners from Homeworks. I have noticed that with some of their more recent releases. The wicks you can see are a little bit long, but they're not, if you can see that on there, there's not a whole lot of excess carbon at the end, but they are a little bit long. I would trim these wicks just because it's a hot and fast burner. But this one I'm going to go ahead and pass on to somebody else. I just don't love the combination of Freesia and Rose in there. And then the other candle that was sent to me in PR is Kringle Candles Cherry Cola. Now, this was from their most recent Reserve collection. This, they sent me this one, White Lotus, Lemon Splash, which I've actually already finished. You saw that in my empties last week. And what was the other one in there? The Minty Melon. That's the other one. I still have to, no, I think I'm going to review that one this week. Hold fast. I think that one will be up for review this week. I think that's what I have on my schedule. Believe it or not, you guys, I do actually write out. I kind of plan out which candles I am going to be reviewing for the whole week. And so I do believe that I have Minty Melon on my schedule to review this week. But Cherry Cola, this one was a miss for me. Now, I can't remember if I mentioned it in one of my videos or over on Instagram, or maybe in one of the posts. This to me, I just don't look forward to burning this. Now, this to me, okay, this smells a little bit weird when it is burning. It's so funny. My family, my husband and my youngest daughter, Piper, I was burning this the first night and they were kind of sniffing in the air and they were like, what are you burning? They were like, are you burning a candle? And I said, yeah. I was like, it smells a little weird in here, huh? And they were like, yeah, it does. Like, even, it was so funny. My 11-year-old was like, she just looked at me. She's like, yeah, it just smells weird in here. I don't like it. Now I'm going to tell you, this one, I feel like I'm smelling it more. Now I'm kind of on the fence. Like, should I declutter this or should I not? This is not a cherry cola fragrance to my nose. I will just put it there. The best cherry coke fragrance that I have tried so far, I would say, would be the Hallmarks Bing Cherry Cola. That being said, I do know that that Slacken & Co., or not Slacken & Co., Kringle can do um, like effervescent soda fragrance as well, because their reindeer beer that they released in their winter like Christmas collection a couple of years ago is one of the most authentic root beer fragrances that I have smelled. I really, really like that scent. But this one, there's something about it that's just missing the mark for me. This to me smells more like the cherry syrup that you would put in, say, you would put it in like a Shirley Temple or something. Um, that's the cherry note that I get in here. There's almost maybe a little bit of almond in here. The fragrance notes are cherry, cola, effervescence, ginger, and sweet. And I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this one. You guys let me know in the comment box down below. Should I keep this? Let me know. Should I keep this one? Now that I'm smelling it more, it doesn't smell as quote unquote weird to me as it did initially, which has me thinking maybe I should hold on to it. Maybe I'll try pairing it with that bakery on Main over there. I think that was the other thing too. I didn't have any other candles in my collection that I felt like I could pair with this. So I was kind of at a loss for like, what do I burn with this right now? But this is definitely more like syrupy cherry, a little bit of almond in here. I get some ginger, but it's not as gingery as, say, the what was the candle that I just reviewed on what was it? Ginger something. The Homeworks one that yeah, I told you guys to have the review on. It's not as gingery as that. I don't know, you guys. You guys let me know in the comment box down below. But for whatever reason, this kind of smells like a cherry almond cake or something to me. It just doesn't smell like cherry cola. I think I might give this one another try. I think I might give this one another try. So we shall see. This one, maybe I'll keep this one around for another month. Does that sound like a fair assessment? And then I'll give you guys a post-burn review and we'll see. I'll let you know in that review if it made it or not. So let's see. We began with 74, hauled 20, which brought us to 94. I emptied 24, which brought us down to 70. I had written down here that I decluttered 5, but technically I think at this point I've decluttered 4. 1 is really, really on the chopping block. You better show up, cherry cola, if you want to stick around. So at the moment, we will say that I have 66 candles in my collection. That is what, a net loss of 8 candles throughout the month. So I feel pretty good about that. And again, for me, that is this is a way for me to just make sure that my candle collection stays at a size that I feel comfortable with. I know that I am in a little bit different boat than maybe some of you guys watching. You know, for me, like I said, as a reviewer, I am always trying to review new fragrances that appeal to me. I try to review the fragrances that are sent to me in PR, but I'm also just trying to balance that out with burning old favorites. So let me know in the comment box down below. Do you guys like this video? Does it help you with being aware with what is in your candle collection? I always think that that's just, you know, it's fun to encourage each other. I know that we can oftentimes influence you guys to buy new fragrances, but I always like to kind of counterbalance all the new with showing you that, hey, even I am trying to be responsible with the size of my collection. I try to be responsible with my purchases, and I hope that it helps you out. So please make sure that you stay tuned for later on this week. Like I said, I have 2 more candle reviews for you guys this week. And then I'm hoping this weekend to actually finally give you guys my untouchables list, spring and summer fragrances that I say, hands off, candle companies. Do not touch these fragrances. They are some of my absolute favorites. So you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you don't want to miss out on that. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.